The darkness had consumed me for weeks, an abyss of nothingness where time held no meaning. And then, one day, there was a glimmer, a flicker of consciousness that pierced through the void. I felt a distant awareness, a tugging sensation that slowly pulled me back from the depths. My senses returned in fragments. I could hear distant sounds, muffled and distorted. I could feel a gnawing ache throughout my body, a constant reminder of the decay that was spreading like wildfire within me. My vision was a blurred haze of muted colours, and as my thoughts gradually coalesced, the horror of my situation began to unfold. I was trapped, a spectator in my own body. I could hear the moans and shuffling footsteps of others around me. I could see the decaying surroundings, the world a twisted reflection of the life it once held, and I could feel the hunger, a relentless craving that gnawed at me, driving me forward with an insatiable urge. My limbs moved with a clumsy, disjointed rhythm, a puppet on strings that I had no control over. I watched in detached horror as my body lurched and stumbled, driven by an instinctual need to consume. My mind screamed in protest, a voice silenced by the prison of my own flesh. I watched myself hunt, watched as I encountered other survivors, their expressions a mix of fear and desperation. I saw the terror in their eyes, the realization that I was no longer human, that I was now one of the monsters that haunted their nightmares. But amidst the chaos and the violence, a thread of my former self remained. I could hear my own voice, a whisper in the abyss, pleading for release, for an end to the torment. I wanted to apologize to those I harmed, to tell them that this was not who I was, that I was trapped within my own decaying shell. It felt as if days and nights blurred together, an endless cycle of hunger and violence. I roamed the streets, a creature of the night, a predator in a world devoid of morality. And through it all, I clung to the remnants of my consciousness, the fragments of my humanity, a desperate hope that someday this nightmare would end. And then, one fateful night, I encountered a group of survivors who fought back with a ferocity I had not expected. They were armed, organized, and determined to resist the encroaching darkness. As I stumbled toward them, driven by an uncontrollable urge, their weapons glinted in the moonlight. The battle was fierce, chaotic, a symphony of screams and gunfire. I watched as my body fell, hit by a hail of bullets. Pain flared, a brief and agonizing sensation that cut through the numbness. And then, as I collapsed to the ground, there was a moment of stillness. I could feel my consciousness slipping away, the darkness once again threatening to claim me. But this time, it was different. This time, there was a sense of release, of freedom. I could feel the decay spreading, my body growing cold and lifeless. And in those final moments as my awareness faded, I felt a strange peace. The world around me faded into nothingness, and I was once again enveloped by the void. But this time it was different. This time there was no hunger, no pain, no remorse. There was only silence, a stillness that held a kind of solace. And so, my story ends here, a tale of love, loss, and the relentless pursuit of survival. I am no longer a part of the world that once was, no longer trapped within the confines of my decaying body. I am free in a way, free from the horrors that consumed me, free from the choices that tore me apart. But as my consciousness fades into nothingness, there is one last thought that lingers, a hope that somewhere, amidst the darkness and the chaos, there are those who continue to fight, who continue to resist the tide of despair. Perhaps, in the end, it is the resilience of the human spirit that shines brightest, even in the face of the most unimaginable horrors. For those who are alive and safe, pray tell you never fall victim to the curse of the insatiable hunger.